Hey guys, it's Toni, Toni Tessler, ToniStamps, that's me. I'm not usually here on Sunday, but I wanted to make this process video for my Craft Roulette challenge for this week. And I have about a half hour before my friend comes online that I want to watch. So we're going to get into it. Let's go down to my desk. Okay, so this week we're on week 152 of the Craft Roulette Challenge. This is a weekly, I guess it's a game show. Mary Gunn runs it, and you can find it on YouTube. Just search for Craft Roulette. She's got a whole channel every Friday night. This week it was on Thursday. That's not normal. But the gist is she has a guest stamper every week, and they spin a wheel for 4 different parameters. And then they both work on cards together, and then everybody else makes cards on their own and posts to the Facebook group. And there's a Craft Roulette.live, I think it is, and you submit it so they show it next week. So anywho, it's a lot of fun. Check that out. So this week's parameters, the project is hinged. So any hinge on your card, it could be the fold of the card. That could be a hinge. You know, you can take these literally, figuratively. You can interpret them however you want. The colors are a craft background. Element is outside your window. So this could be a literal window looking out. It could be something that you see out your window. You know, again, interpret it however you want. And then the random bit is faux leather. So these are all pretty easy this week. But I thought I would do this quick video just to show you what I thought of initially when I got the parameters. So all my measurements are going to be on my blog, which I will have the link in the description, but I will tell you as we go. So this is just a scrap of craft crumb cake. I'm going to stamp my greeting on that. This owl, this is what I'm using for outside my window. So if we had owls in my neighborhood, I could look out my window and maybe see them, maybe hear them. I don't know. But this is what I'm using for my outside the window. Then we've got a crumb cake base, 5.5 by 8.5. Score that at 4 1/4. Then we've got a piece of basic white. This will be for the inside, 4 by 5 1/4. A layer for the front. Oh, and you know what? I just realized I need my magnets because I do want to have a magnet closure for this. So let me just peel off 2 of these. So this crumb cake is 4 by 5 1/4 also. Then I've got 2 more pieces. This is crumb cake 3 3/4, I believe. Yep, 3 3/4 by 3.5. And I scored it at 3.5. So that gives me a 1/4 inch hinge. All right. And this is what I'm going to use. This is what I think of when I think of hinge, is adding like a tip in or, you know, an extra flap. So this is what I'm doing. And this 1/4 inch is what we're going to use to attach it. I actually want to trim these corners just a little bit. I wonder if you can hear my stomach is making funny noises. Ugh. All right, but that's our hinge. Then I've got a piece of 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 that I embossed with a wood grain background. It kind of made me think of trees because I want my owl to be hanging out in the tree or on the tree. So let's start with adding our hinge. So I want this flap to be, I don't want to just put it on the outside like this, glue it on the outside, because it hangs over kind of funky. Like you can only get it so close to the edge. And notice how, you know, you can see that peeking out. Also, I don't want it glued to the back. So what I like to do with these is glue it to my card, my layer that's going to go on the inside. And then I'll glue this whole thing in here. All right. So we need glue on this little bit right here inside. And I like, I use the Barely Art glue, but I also like art glitter glue. You could use tape, whatever. So just get that as close as you can on the edge and then squeeze And then we're going to glue this right to the inside of our card. Now I know that's probably a lot more glue than people use, but I use a lot of it. Okay, so now it doesn't hang over, you know, funky, and my card's gonna shut. The difference, the one thing is I have to trim this back a little bit. So since this hinge is inside a little bit, my card front, it's not gonna shut. All right, so I have to cut maybe 1/8 of an inch off. All right, so I'm gonna bring my cutter in here because I like to slice like a little bit off at a time. Just because placing my hinge like that, I never know if I'm gonna end up in a good spot. Okay, oops, so just a little bit more. I think I took a little 1/16, now I'm just gonna do a little sliver. All right, and then just a little bit more, because can you tell that it's buckling a little bit? Like it doesn't want to shut flat. And even though I'm going to use magnets, I don't want that bubble. All right, so a smidge more. So this part, I guess I could figure out a measurement, but it's easy enough just to keep, you know, slicing, slicing, slicing. Now, if I was going to make 5 of these, I would definitely measure something better. Okay, perfect. Now, the fact that this is, we can see that edge, doesn't bother me at all because it's the same color. Like, nobody's really going to notice that. What I do want to measure is this width now. So now this is 4 1/8 and by 5 1/2. So that piece that I was going to layer on the front, I cut down 1/4 inch. So it was 5 1/4 by 4. So now I want to take another 1/8 inch off. Just because, so I guess that's what I really cut off of the whole card front was 1/8. Because I want to maintain that 1/4 inch border. All right, so our card is going to go like this. And like I said, I want to close it with a magnet. So I find it easiest. I like to bury it. All right, so I want to cover it with this layer. So I'm going to eyeball, I want to put it like about here, and I'm going to add glue. And then I'm also going to put a bit of score tape on it. Let me hold that down. Or tear and tape, whatever. I think you can even get this stuff from the dollar store now. All right. Now, actually, I'm just going to leave that there. I can, whoops, I just want to let that snap in place. So this is where I'm going to bury this one also. Cover it under my embossed bit. And I like to just add the tape over it, add glue, and then put tape on it. Just so it's like that much sturdier, okay? Let's open this up. And that glue has to dry. So let's go back to our parameters. So I've got hinged, so we can check that off. I've got my craft background. Outside my window is going to be my owl. Now we need faux leather. So this is easy peasy. You need a linen ink pad, okay? Not a foam-based or, you know, a squishy one. Linen, all right? And just take this, and I'm doing circular, but you can go up and down. You just want to gently go over the top of your cardstock. It's going to pick up some texture that's inherently in your cardstock, and I think it looks like faux leather. So, very cool. I do need to let that dry a little bit, but yeah, only linen pads. And actually, I can show you with this. Let me get a little scrap. So if you've got a foam pad and you try to drag your foam pad on your paper, I mean, that's working. That's a bad example because this ink pad is dry. It normally comes out terrible, like a solid image. Let me try soft suede, because that's just, ugh. All right, that's what I want more. Like it sticks to it, and it's just, it doesn't get the same effect. And actually, I'm gonna use this for my greeting, because I forgot to re-ink my other one. So that's why I want to use a linen pad for this faux leather background. All right, hands aren't that dirty, so we can go ahead and glue this on. I might want to do the same thing on my wood piece, because that's gonna look like that needs it a little bit darker. So same thing, embossed is raised up, so I'm just gonna run my ink pad right over top, and this time it's gonna pick up all those raised up bits, which is pretty cool. All right, and then we can do the edges. And I might do the edges of my card too. Like this layer. Now you could ink blend these, you could sponge them. I like the direct to paper just because it's fairly quick. And I'm just getting the edges. You can come in like and get more of your paper with it, but in this case we're not really going to see it, so I'm just going to try for the edges. All right, and then one more. Let's get this edge, because why not? All right, so now let's go ahead and glue this layer on. Normally I would wait for this to dry completely, but we're just gonna get on with it. All right, be generous with the glue, and I like to put a little bit more around and on top of my magnet. All right, center that. I like it. All right, and then we're gonna glue this on. You could emboss with anything you had, really. Any folder. It didn't have to be wood or trees, but like leaves, ferns, something. Or any like dots, any generic pattern. Just want something for texture. All right, let's put this here. All right, press that down. Nice. All right, so here's our card is going to stay closed with that magnet. Neat. All right, so all I want to do is pop this guy up, and I had him on my mask. I had made him for something else. I can't even remember if I watercolored him or if I used blends like markers, but I found him. I just had to cut him out. And I'm gonna put him like right here. And then I'm gonna do a greeting in, let's see, we're gonna use early soft suede. And I was going to use one of these from Shaded Summer. Oh, and the little owl guy was adorable owls. So cute. All right. I'm going to say some friendships are just meant to be. And hope I can get this. Actually, I'm going to hand cut it anyway, so it doesn't really matter if I don't get it straight. Okay. Pretty close. Still need to trim it just a little. All right, I think a little bit like smidge that way. And then I like to rip the edges, and I rip towards me because then that roughed up edge is on top. Ooh, perfect. I feel like I need some lace or ribbon or something. Oh, but that was not in the plan. I'm just going to doll this up with some rhinestones. And let's do the edges here so it stands out a little bit. Let's raise this up. So usually when I'm designing cards, I design it on paper, and you know, I don't make it ahead of time and then make another one when I'm doing a video. I just, you know, draw it out and then go for it. So I'm always happy to see when it turns out better than it was in my head. Ooh, I like that. Okay. And now we're going to use some champagne rhinestones just because they are a good generic. Like, they're going to go good with this brown. And I do want to add a little bit more glue. And I might do more than that, but just for starters. And there's 3 different sizes here. Ooh, I like this. 3. Let's add a couple more. 1, 2. So we'll do 2 more little ones. That wants to stick to my finger. Now, the fact that you can still see this glue like around the other ones, don't worry about that. This Barely Art will dry clear and you'll never notice. So that is my quick video my process video for Craft Roulette challenge number 152. So thanks for watching. Good night.